At the end of 2016 Shin Godzilla, the monster was defeated before it was able to change into what many assume to be its final form. This final version in the film is left unseen in a full capacity, but has garnered an extreme level of interest and happens to be what very well could be the most disturbing design to ever come out of the series. The last shots of the film depict Godzilla frozen solid before lingering on the creature's tail, where an assortment of grotesque and deformed-looking humanoid figures with physical attributes similar to Godzilla were about to sprout out of it. These creatures were supposed to be detaching from the larger monster in a sort of disbursement that they'd begun in order to fight back against the humans. We see over the course of the film that Godzilla consistently upgrades and changes form in order to adapt to new threats, and this version is definitely the creepiest. The figures come complete with a skeletal-like structure, and their skulls resemble that of a human, but with strange otherworldly fangs and teeth. There's something eerily alien about them, and the comparison to the Alien franchise's xenomorph creature, or even some of the more bizarre-looking offshoots from that series, immediately come to my mind when I think about it. Complete with Godzilla spines and a very dark Japanese-styled art direction, the monsters that we never got to see in action at the end of Shin Godzilla are something that people really wanted to see explored in a sequel to the movie. But from what I can tell, and I've already got a full video on this if you're interested, this wasn't really the direction they wanted to go in the proposed follow-up at all. With that being said, I think it's safe to say that the look of these guys is the stuff made from straight up nightmares, and I think if they ever did make an official appearance in a movie, it would be extremely different compared to what we usually get in the series. My best guess for a scenario involving these little Godzilla humans would be that they would disperse and fan out around the city after breaking off and away from the larger monster, in a similar way to what we've seen go down with Destoroyah from the 1995 film. Only in this case, I think the creatures would be far more creepy due to their strangely human appearance. And I don't care who you are, there's just something about a monster looking human, this case more vampiric and creepy than any other Godzilla design I can think of, that just makes for an infinitely more threatening creature. Now, if you want a technical term for this specific form of the monster, it goes by the name of Godzilla's fifth form, after successfully mutating into 4 previous versions seen across the film. Possibly the biggest controversy surrounding the movie's ending had to do with this sort of departure from normal Godzilla movie making, with it honestly being quite different and dark in comparison to what one would normally expect to see. You know, in some versions of the monster, he's actually the good guy and even a defender of Japan, while here we have a return to the more mature and serious-natured roots. But it's also just so outlandish and bizarre that I can totally see why some people have a huge problem with this being technically classified as Godzilla. But the idea of a million of these little things tearing through Japan and causing chaos sounds extremely wild in my opinion, and it would make for the kind of carnage one would expect to see in a zombie or standard monster movie. From the idea down to the design and the overall tone these things give off, I think an army of little humanoid Shin Godzillas would at the very least make for a great short film. And it's the thing that got a lot of people like myself excited back in 2016 for what the Reiwa era could offer us as far as the future goes. I am excited to see Godzilla Minus Zero, but admittedly, I kind of wanted more straightforward sequels to Shin that actually had a little continuity. When it comes to this franchise, I'm totally fine with them just making whatever they want, but I do miss the days when a cliffhanger in one movie would be followed up in the next. And I think a Shin Godzilla Raids Again or Shin Godzilla vs. Shin Ghidorah kind of project could be excellent to explore new ideas like this and as a much more modern focused Godzilla series. But even if that never comes to pass, the fifth form of mutant Godzilla creatures at the end of the film are definitely the most eerie things the movie has to offer, and in my opinion, the entire franchise for that matter.